tuning in to the whole nine.
Yes, sir, yes, sir, yes, sir. We in the building, nigga.
Yeah, baby.
Get off of this website right now.
Man, what it is, man, it's Big Smalls signing out. Man, y'all check out the whole nine, man. Y'all go ahead and check out the blackhole.com, man. It's going to work. Out.
This is Medina. You're now tuned into the Whole Nine podcast.
This is your boy Ron. You're now tuned into the Whole Nine podcast.
I'm tuning in to the Whole Nine.
Hey, this is Trinity, and you are tuning into the Whole Nine. Yeah.
So yeah, hey, you tuned in to the Whole Nine, another episode. It's been a long time coming, but definitely long overdue. Definitely appreciate all you guys tuning in whenever you get the opportunity. Do what them YouTubers say. Go ahead and like, share, subscribe. Hit what they say. Hit the like button, then
that bell, click that
all
bell.
that. Yeah, click that bell, all that jazz. But I go by the name of Mean Green.
It's your boy Black. What's going on?
Yes, indeed. And we got the homie in the building. I'm gonna let him introduce himself.
My name is George, and I just came up with the name The Prophet because all I speak is the truth.
Hey, I like it, dog. You gotta put a hip hop to how you spell the prophet, though. How you spell it?
D.A. Prophet.
Hey, I take it. Hey, bro, you know, Enoch might sue you for some infringement.
Oh, word! I forgot about what was he?
Another
Was
prophet
he
too.
he the prophet?
Yeah, he go by Enoch the prophet, but
I forgot about
it.
that.
This buckle. Don't even worry about it.
Yeah. We'll talk about it now.
Yeah.
It could be multiple prophets. There's multiple.
Right.
Prophets.
Yeah, look, man, he can't be the only prophet. But I did want to give a shout out. I know it's Juneteenth. You know what I'm saying? We always celebrating Black history. You know, it's not just 1 month in February, but let me see. I would like to give a shout out to my homeboy Aaron Watson and the Watson firm. Just celebrated a over $5 million settlement claim. The reason why I wanted to shout him out is I remember a lot of humble beginnings for the homie. Pretty much was working for a law firm down in Pensacola, decided to step out on faith, step out on his own grind, and work from the ground up. And then decided to open up his own law firm, and that takes a lot of courage, a lot of support from family and friends. And he's been successful going through this process, but recently celebrated a $5 million settlement claim for his client, and got their family what was deserved to them. And I know he's one of those ones, man. So I look forward to celebrating a lot more wins with him. So I want to give him a shout out, and the Watson firm, law firm in Pensacola, Florida. A shout out for continuing to be a dominant force in the personal injury claim business. Big bro, who you got any shout outs you want to give out?
Shout out to my family, man. Whatever they had to do to make sure that we had food on our table, make sure we had a roof on our head. You know what I mean? Like, there's a lot of people out there who make small sacrifices to make big things happen for for whatever reasons they may have. And my homeboy was talking about families, man. It's like there's an attack on the Black to families in general. You know what I mean? And I just think it's important that we give the proper respect, to the people who grind daily for us. You know what I mean? Like, people wake up in the morning to go to work, and have to endure, bust their ass coworkers and punk ass bosses. You know what I'm saying? Just so you can get that check at the end of the week, so you can pay that rent. You know what I'm saying? Like, and you have to do this every day, 5 days a week. Some people do it 6 days a week. You know what I'm saying? You putting in these hours, and you sacrifice. And so I just want to say, thank you to my parents, for making that sacrifice every day. You know what I'm saying? So so I can eat. You know what I'm saying? Like, you don't know what I'm gonna grow up and be. I could grow up and be, a Martin Luther King, or I can grow up and be, a gangster, or I could grow up to be a doctor. You know what I'm saying? Like, you making that you rolling that dice. You know what I'm saying? And you taking that chance, and you just sacrifice it. So I just want to say thank you to my family for making that sacrifice for little old me, Dad.
Yes, indeed. Same here. Same here. Love you all, everybody. And what you got going on, man?
Shout out Food Addicts on the Run, my sister's business, my brother-in-law, minority-owned, Juneteenth. Support them. They're all over Jacksonville. You can find them on Instagram, Facebook. They do caterings, parties, all that jazz. So hit them up.
Definitely. I'll make sure I get the information and post it in the description. So
I don't really trust these dudes. You know what I'm saying? And what happens? Who are they influenced by? These people are obviously mentally deranged. People are letting the feds know, hey, these guys are mentally deranged, and then they're ending up with weapons and doing this shit. And like the kid, this most recently that happened, like we were speaking, he was shooting outside the school for, I believe it was 10 minutes before he entered the school. I don't know about y'all, but 10 minutes is a long fucking time to shoot. During a shooting, 10 minutes is like an hour and a half.
Man.
You know what I'm saying? Like the shit that happens in 10 minutes in the shooting. So that should be plenty of time to lock down every fucking door in that school. There should not have been a side door open for this dude to just walk in. And then, like I said, the guy that's supposed to be guarding the school is on lunch. He's not there. This dude just shot his grandma in the face. She went to the neighbor's house and called the police. He's been shooting outside for the past 10 minutes. He goes in. The cops show up to the scene, see him go in, don't stop him. Stop some other kids. He's inside the building, starts shooting. Cops don't enter. Parents show up, try to enter to save their kids, get detained by the police, right? Random Border Patrol agent drives, because I believe his daughter went to that school. I could be wrong, but I know he was the one to go in. Pretty much dolo, I think. I think he went by himself. He wasn't even with the squad. Take the shooter out. While there's a whole squad of police that are waiting for the SWAT team. He's inside the school for over 45 minutes shooting.
Yep.
Same thing happened here in Broward County, Florida. That kid that was in the school shooting, the police did not respond. They did the same thing. They showed up. They did not enter. They allowed him to shoot. It was known by the feds. Same thing. You know what I'm saying? Who's giving the order to these guys to stand down? Right? And why is it okay for them to stand down? Now, a lot of people don't know the police aren't there to save your life. The police aren't there to protect you. And nowhere in the Constitution does it say that a police officer has to protect you. And they have taken cases to the Supreme Court because cops have failed to respond. Literally, you can get shot right in front of a police officer, and he can watch you die, and he does not have to respond. He may have to call it in, but he does not have to respond to that shooting. He does not have to interfere. You can be getting your ass beat. He can drive right past. He does not have to respond. It is completely legal for him to do that. Police officers aren't there to protect the public. Okay, they're not there to protect a person. A person is required to protect themselves. That's why we have the Second Amendment right to carry our own weapons and bear arms. Arms doesn't necessarily just mean guns. Arms literally means any fucking weapon. It could be nunchucks, swords, throwing stars, like anything you fucking want, but it's arms. And they left, so whatever. You could be a ninja in this bitch, but they left it open for that reason. You know, because you can't restrict it. And anything that the government has to use against us, we should be able to have to use against them. And that's my issue with trying to ban any type of what they would call combat or military style type weapon. Right. So that's my opinion on these shootings. Why are the feds always involved? Why aren't the police responding? Why are they letting this happen? It's always after the fact, and then after the fact, it's always trying to take guns away from people who didn't do shit.
Yeah, that part right there too. It's like,
So,
what's
the agenda, right?
So both of you, it sounds like both of you on the side of no type of limitation on guns. Is that the case?
The only one I agree with slightly is moving up the age to 21. But I'll say if you move up the age to purchase the
I don't see how that fixes it.
then you also have to do it for joining the military and for voting. That's just my opinion. And I just say that because I just think times have changed. The kids don't grow up how like we grew up, like outside in the streets. They don't grow up that way. So, I mean, to me, they don't grow up as fast as we do. Like at 18, they're not ready to move like we were. And I don't know why, but I knew at 18 I had to do some shit because I wasn't able to just sit around, you know.
Mm-hmm.
And but that's the only one I agree with. Outside of that, I don't trust the government. The government's not there to protect you, bro. If you live in Chicago and you call the police, say, hey, somebody's breaking in my house, they're like, yeah, we don't got no cops that can respond to a break-in. Call us for triple homicide. We respond to triple homicide now. One murder, you know what I'm saying? It's just Chicago, you know? So who's gonna protect you? The cops ain't coming to protect you. Even when they show up, they don't have to protect you. You're left to protect yourself. And like we said before, if you take away the guns from the people, and then, like I said, the same people that want to take away the guns from regular people want to take the guns away from the police because they say the police are abusive. So now you have no police with guns. You have no people with guns. Now you have criminals and military with guns. Neither one of them are your friends. So, no, I don't believe in gun restriction. Sorry.
Gotcha. So if so why is there a big push that's in legislation right now on automatic rifles? So if you were to deem the logical reason for having an automatic weapon or a weapon that's, I guess, what they consider, I'm trying to understand the verbiage of what they say. Basically, anything that can shoot 100 rounds.
They call them assault weapons. They call them
weapons.
Assault weapons or combat weapons or fucking whatever stupid terms they call them. They don't even know what they're talking about.
There's no reason for
I don't even know
to have an automatic weapon unless you're you're in some type of combat environment. Hunting, you don't really need an automatic weapon for. So I can kind of understand, a restriction on an automatic weapon or even a semi-automatic weapon. But I just feel like I kind of echo, George's sentiments as far as, if the government got it, I feel like I need it too. You know what I mean? Because I don't want, the bad guys to have a weapon and then I'm out here defenseless. Because that's ultimately what the regulations are going to do. Is going to restrict, law-abiding citizens from being able to protect themselves from people who don't give a damn about the law. Like the mass shooters. Like, you think gun regulation would have prevented them from doing what they're going to do? Nah. I mean, right. They legally obtained a weapon. I mean, and then they still did, some illegal activity with it. So
everything they did was illegal.
Yeah, they obtained it legally, but the actions.
None of that stopped what they did.
It was illegal. So really, we have to get into preventive measures. Like, how do we stop people from getting to that point where
mental health.
That mental health, man. That mental health is crazy. And then I never really thought about it like that before too. But like after reading the manifestos, I was like, yeah, these people are really like mentally disturbed. You know what I'm saying? And then what really bothers me too, on top of that, is like, that community, they get that deference. They get a chance to be mentally ill. Like, we're actually exploring like, okay, there's a problem here. What's causing these guys to do this? And then, and within our own community, when we do goofy ass shit, like, the gang violence and all that, like, nobody's really exploring like, wow, how did we get here? Like, why are we like this? You know what I mean? Like, how can we stop these Black brothers from killing each other and joining organizations that's detrimental to their community and they're destroying their community? Like, I feel like we should get that difference too of a mental health or the benefit of the doubt, or there's a reason for them doing what they're doing, and I feel like we should explore that, within our own community too, or that aspect.
When you get a chance, pull up a manifesto. I want to try to dive in. I don't see how we can dissect a 150-page manifesto, but I want to see exactly what type of information or what I can discover from these individuals. But yeah, most definitely, man. Like for myself, I don't think like I've always wanted to have a gun just because I know I needed to protect myself. Right? I know I was a father. I know I was a husband. I know I have something comes in my house where it's something that I'm outmanned, outgunned. At least I have a fighting chance with someone who has ill intent. But technically, I didn't own a legal firearm until 2020. I believe right when Abu passed is when I actually got a firearm. And he'd been trying to tell me to get get some artillery for like 10 years. How my pops was trying to preach to us, man. But I think for myself, man, I just know prior to that, it was about these hands. You know what I'm saying? I don't know when.
What happened to the hands? We got to get back to the hands.
I was dealing with these hands, but then I realized, hey, these hands ain't gonna do nothing when somebody's coming at me with something different. So I had to switch up the game plan at that point. And I feel like that's really the name of the game, man. Like I don't know what can really minimize a lot of the outlandish activity, especially in the urban community. But I think a lot of times it does start with mental health and just having some type of either some guidance. Because I don't know, like the common denominator. I don't know what the common denominator would.
I'm gonna tell you what the common denominator is. Common denominator is a 2-parent household. If a child grows up with a mother and a father, even if they're shitty, they have a chance in life at being successful. I think it's like 80% if they have a household. And if you have a father in your life and they're not necessarily living with your mother, you still have a good chance. You need that father figure. You need that mother figure. You know what I'm saying? If you don't have that, then you're missing it. That's what I was kind of explaining earlier when I was saying that America has lost its roots. When we were growing up, I would say you got to remember, like, what happened when 9/11 happened. Just think about how many flags you saw on everybody's car. You know what I'm saying? Everybody was with it. What? You hit the towers? Oh, yeah, we American. You know what I'm saying? Fuck that. Who did it? We going in there. And the problem with that was it was all fake. You know what I'm saying? And they abused it, and they forced us to go into wars that we should have never been in and get involved in places that we should have never done. And people realized it. They realized that it was a money thing. They realized it was resources and all kinds of shit. And it wasn't about America anymore. And at that point, people stopped trusting America. And then now, after that, you start having movements like Black Lives Matter, and you start having movements like LGBT and all these other movements that go against what America's core foundation was, because now that's considered racist. You know what I'm saying? To be a Christian would be racist now because some of your beliefs would go against more of the modern left side. And it's not being racist, it's just having a different thought process, but now that's not allowed anymore. It's just not tolerated. You can't speak like that no more. You just have to accept it. A man wants to be a woman and play against women. LeBron wants to be fucking LeBronda and play in the WNBA and score like fucking Dave Chappelle said. If he wanted to do it, who's gonna stop him? You can't stop him, right?
Take it to the Supreme Court.
You can't stop him, right? So, but you're not allowed to question it. So that all this mental health that's happening, everybody's just like, yeah, no, this is it. This is okay. This is normal. These are just people expressing themselves. Motherfuckers thinking they're all kinds of different things. They don't have a foundation of who they are. So they're getting tricked to believe whatever this bullshit is, and that's big when it comes to the mental health with the kids nowadays. They don't have that foundation, and they don't have the foundation because they don't have that 2-parent household. They don't have the grandparents there to teach them the lessons. You know, they don't have the mother and father there. They're getting raised by TikTok, everything else.
Yeah,
And
social media, computers.
I can't tell you how many times I'm just walking down different aisles shopping. Little kids are just dancing in front of fucking Rice Krispie treats because they got their phone up making a TikTok video. I'm like, get the fuck out the way. I'm trying to get some cereal. You know what I'm saying? Well, fuck you dancing in the aisle for. Go somewhere else to dance. I don't get it.
No, that's true. Because what happens is now the newer generation. I don't even know. So my generation, our generation, was what they call what? Are we? Why was it Z generation? What was it?
I don't know. I think you're
I
one
forgot.
generation before me, man. I don't know.
Wait,
How old are you?
I'm 37 now.
I'm 32. So not too far.
No, we're in the same. Yeah, we're in the same generation. But lo and behold, I think what happened was there was a shift from a lot of the newer generation being born out of wedlock. Right? They'll have their one night stands, and then the mother and the father not necessarily wasn't in a relationship. They pretty much was just in a nice little cordial activity going on, and then now the parents are getting younger, so the mother is what 20, 18 to 19, or even 17 to 16, and then they're raising their children, and they're still going out, they're still clubbing. Some parents are taking their daughters and their daughters to the club with them, or they're just being privy to a lot of the promiscuous activities. Like they'll invite some man home to enjoy their time with them while the daughter is in the other room, and they see random dudes back to back. So it's like that becoming normalized, and it's impacting how the children are raised. So instead of them spending time with the children, they're pretty much going out, or they're letting the children be raised by social media. They're being raised by Instagram. They're getting raised by Twitter. They're getting raised by TikTok. Just like you mentioned. I think that's become a hazard in the household itself, and just raising or having good family core values. Younger females knowing what their value, what their worth is, how to communicate their worth to someone else without having to dress inappropriately, or without having to act like the model video vixen, or the famous Instagram person who decides to put on an excess amount of makeup, or get surgery to look a certain way. So I think that's one of the things about this social media era right now. Like a lot of people are getting raised by their computers, getting raised by their TVs, getting raised by their phones, as opposed to raised by their parents in the village for the most part. That's scary though. That's big time scary.
We're the last real era. We're the last real humans. We were raised in the era where it was a transition. We were raised in an era when people used technology, but it wasn't completely consuming people. You know what I'm saying? We saw beepers. We saw beepers. We saw fucking Blackberries. Then we saw fucking Nextel cell phones where you had to chirp. It was like a walkie-talkie. But it's hard to trace people when they could just hit walkie-talkie, so they had to cut that out. Everybody was buying weed off the walkie-talkies, so they had to move that over to just regular cell phones, and then like sidekicks and shit. But we literally we're the last generation to know what it's like before the cell phone, you know, and so we can't forget that. But that makes us the last real generation because all these fuckers are robots now, bro. And that's the reason why I kind of brought my kids out here to the country, because I got chickens and I'm raising them on this farm type life because I want them to learn real lessons, and not just like.
Hey, hold on.
Miss Joanne, how you doing?
Hey, what's going on?
Look at you, only know how to work the cell phone. What up, Miss Joanne? What's up with you? We can't hear you. I gotta hear your audio. Put your audio on. She gonna take about 30 minutes. Watch. Let me know. I'll let you know when I can hear you. But yeah, I agree with you 100%, George, for sure. She says she connected to the audio.
In my ear. What?
Oh, there you go. What's up, Miss Joanne?
Well, hello. What's up, you guys?
What's going on? What's
going on?
I appreciate you
It's going to
tuning
get
in.
the audio. Roz. It's going.
Hey, let me ask you
It's
a
gone
question.
again. What happened? Right here.
Miss Joanne told me a story earlier. I'm gonna put it on blast in a second. Watch this.
Where was it showing up? You still can't hear? Can you hear? It's
Miss
going.
Joanne, why you got? Can you hear me?
Say that.
So I didn't get the chance to tell you what the topic of our podcast today was. You ready? I'm gonna hit you with it. You ready?
Okay. What it's
All right,
about?
so, three things. I think right now we done transitioned over to this new generation of I guess the younger generation. So not yourself, not people who like me who came in after you, but the new generation that's getting raised by computers, getting raised by social media. But before I get your opinion on that, I want you to tell the story of when my wife took you to the club.
Oh my goodness, you guys want to hear that story? She actually,
Yeah,
her and my niece, no, my cousin, they decided, I said, I want to go to the club. I want to see what you guys hanging out with and what y'all doing. So they say, okay, Mama, get dressed. I'm gonna go ahead and take you. Since you want to go, we're gonna take you. And they took me to the club, and they did not go in the club. They was club watching on the outside.
What
Do
we
you know
call
what
it?
they did?
Wait,
They
what we
call
call
it
it though, Miss Joanne?
huh?
What we call it? What we told you we call it?
Y'all call it what they call that thing when you go to huh? Let out. The club let out. They said let's go club let out. They watch the let out. All the people
Who
come
said the
out the
club
club.
let
They don't
out?
go in it. Club let out. And you know what they did? They locked me. They kidnapped me. They would not let me go. They locked me in the car and they went and stand and watched the club close till 4 in the morning and would not let me go home. That's what you call the generation is lost.
Enough said.
Hey, but wait, you know why we go to the let out instead of the club? Did she give you the
Why?
details on that?
No, give me the details. No, what is it?
There's a couple of details. One, we was broke in college, so we didn't want to spend the money to go in the club. They was technically charging like $25 to $35 to get in the club. Then you would have to pay to get your drink. So we didn't want to pay for no drink. So that's $40 to $50 at that point.
This generation going nuts. Oh, this millennium days.
That was us being
Where they do that at?
We were trying to be frugal with our money. Like we was living off of financial aid.
I can understand you guys are being frugal, and I can understand you guys are broke. But at the same time, you guys kidnap the mother. Where do they come in at? They would not let me out the car until 3 in the morning and told me we're going. And then after the club, after standing out there watching nothing, they decided to take me to Denny's
Waffle
to
House.
eat.
Oh yeah, I'm about to say Waffle House to Denny's.
Yeah. Where you do that at?
That's what we was doing. I ain't gonna fault. That's what we did. That's what we did.
And they had no bad feeling. They felt it was funny to them. What did they do? Oh, it was all good for them. So me personally, I feel that this generation has gone.
You got you some numbers out there?
The window.
Y'all
Hey,
out.
hey, Miss Joanne, my brother said, did you pull anything out there?
You got you some numbers out there?
I couldn't get no numbers because they parked me in the back of the parking lot. I was way to the back because they didn't want no friends to know I was in the car. Okay. Where you do that at?
Yeah, okay.
That's funny. Now we was
That's messy.
They
funny. Messy.
Earlier, what you think about arming teachers in school with guns to protect them from a lot of the recent
me personally, I think all teachers should have. But then again, you got a lot of people who are teaching is not bright themselves. You got a lot of teachers who you have some who would do the same thing, but they just undercover with it.
That is true.
But for me, personally, I feel that they should. I think they should monitor, go through the same process of receiving the gun and take them. I think they should have something on them in this day and time.
Yeah.
I do, because everything going haywire. But then, like I said, you got some of them. They're not really stable themselves. Because I used to work for employee relation at the school board, at the Palm Beach County School Board, and at that time, we had to go through, it's a procedure, because you got a lot of teachers who are, hey, wow.
Mm-hmm.
So it really iffy to me. I don't know. What do you think? What do you guys think? Give me your view. So I can understand where you're.
George, tell about what you think about arming some of the teachers.
Well, I think there's typically some type of somebody who works in the school that's prior military or cop, or somebody that worked as in the fire department, EMS, something where they can handle a situation where if it gets out of hand, they would know what to do and they won't act out of pocket. And it doesn't have to be a lot. It can be maybe 2 or 3, but enough to respond to an active shooter in case the security guard goes down or the cop isn't present at the moment and they have to.
Or somebody on lunch break.
But and any place that has security that's armed is not a place where most active shooters want to go. They don't run into gun stores, they don't run into police stations, they don't run into places where people are trapped. They run into soft targets. That's just my opinion on it.
Wow. No, I agree with that. Because every second counts whenever there's an active shooter. I agree with that portion of it.
Yeah, I guess.
And even when the cops show up, they're not responding. I know the teachers will respond because they don't want their kids to get shot. They love those kids. These cops sitting outside while kids are getting killed for an hour. Like, what the fuck are you there for?
And right, and now, like for you. Yeah, for me as a parent with 2 daughters who are teachers, it makes me worried. And I also know it makes their spouses worried about them as well. Mm-hmm. And now they're worried about, my daughters are worried about the students and their safety. And also, what are we going to do, with my husband? And, it's all confusing. I believe my daughters go to work right now with fear. They don't know what to do. Because you don't know who might what, and it's kind of rough. It's really rough.
Yeah, you strapped up or no?
Much to worry about, man.
Huh? You talking to me?
Yeah, well, I'm talking to you in general. I just feel like it's too much for a teacher to be worrying about. Now you got to train teachers to be, to react to computers. I mean, it's like when I was in school, like that wasn't even like a part of the thought process. Like you go to school and the worst you're worried about is a fist fight. You know what I mean? So it's like now you got to worry about giving teachers training to react to to shooters. Like it's additional training that shouldn't have to be. It shouldn't even be a thought. So I think we should. I don't think teachers should be armed per se, but like maybe increase. Security guards, have armed guards, which is even that is a step in a wild direction. It's just like I remember I was dropping Trinity up to school at a high school, and I was like looking at the security measures they had in place. I was looking at the fences. I was like, is that a one-way gate? Like, the gate is like you can only go one way, and they got to buzz you in. I'm like, damn, like this don't even look like a school no more. This look like a prison. Like I couldn't even imagine like attending the school back in my day. It's just like, we shouldn't even be in this predicament, man. It was scary that the gates was like 10 feet high. You couldn't see through it. It was just it looked more like a prison than a school, man. It was just concerning. But I don't think teachers should have guns because, like you said, you know what I mean? It's just like teachers should be focused on teaching. Worried about being a first responder. Like why teachers having to be first responders now? Like you should be focused on education. Like now you got to get secondary training on how to handle a firearm. Cause that's a whole, another lesson in and of itself. Like, you don't want any and everyone with a gun in their hand. That it's not no joke, man. And then like you got these unruly ass students provoke a teacher. Now the teacher reaching in the drawer, she's like, "Boy, you better. Boy, did I tell you to sit your ass down?" It's like, it's like the kids is aggressive nowadays. I told you to sit your ass down.
Hey, that is funny. I just seen this video online of a student basically slapping her teacher. Like it was like
they fighting
multiple
the
slaps.
they fighting the teacher. Yeah.
And then you can imagine the type of civil / criminal instances that could happen. And then now you gotta figure out, okay, did we make the right decision? Because even with what's your boy that was in Stanford where the man got away with killing where Zimmerman got away with killing just because he felt his life was in danger. So a teacher could pull that card anytime they want.
Yeah.
My life was in danger. I felt threatened by the student.
Is it just sitting in your desk drawer like you
man,
got locked
look.
up? What's going on? Like how you securing it? It's just too much extra you got to implement, in the school curriculum that just shouldn't be. We shouldn't be thinking about this type of stuff. Just throw another security guard in there, or go ahead, my bad.
Will now to obviously another security guard? Okay, that's one part of the solution. What about the metal detectors?
Yeah, I mean that's another thing too. I remember back coming up, like if your school had a metal detector, like your school was hard. Like, oh shit,
you're like a little gangster school, right?
Like a little gangster school. How you South Central LA, huh? Our school was smack dab in the middle. Paxton was like smack dab in the middle of the hood, but
in the hood, right? We didn't have no metal detectors. You know what I'm saying? But Paxton was the academic school too. Now it's the magnet school, so
I mean, the transition into that, like when I went, it was.
I forgot. Yeah, we can't have. That is true.
But I mean, it was still smack dab in the middle of the hood. The worst you had to worry
about.
Was
it a deterrent? It'll be a deterrent.
Yeah. But I mean,
you think twice about pulling something in there,
right,
knowing that you get caught. So I mean, I think that will definitely pay dividends. And it's like me and George was talking about it earlier. They about to approve another $1 billion to Ukraine in funding or aid, and we still talking about putting something as simple as metal detectors in school. Like, do we not really have the resources to pull this off just to be a deterrent for the time being? Like, what is the real issue here?
The real issue with which I was talking about earlier, that social media, man. Like students are getting raised by the media as opposed to their parents, man. You know what I'm saying? It's the video games, like kids is getting lost in these virtual reality worlds. They're getting raised by social. Like when we was coming up, like we was outside. You know what I'm saying? Like you got bullied and you had to respond to it like real time. Like you had to have the hands. You know what I'm saying? Like nowadays, like you can live your whole life, online, and you can create this whole avatar of a character.
The gangster is gangster.
You be the most gangster person in the world, and you start believing that, and then after a while, once your reality gets challenged, you're like, oh snap! Like how do I respond to this? You know what I mean? And it's the most obtuse way. You know what I'm saying? They go straight to the fire.
Call of Duty. Straight to Call of Duty. Well, I seen this. Oh, so this is how we get rid of the enemies.
Yeah. It's crazy, man. It's like you don't know how to be social, how to deal with like regular ass problems, dog. Like people getting bullied. Like, so I got a couple of manifestos pulled up. I'm gonna share them a little bit later. You know what I'm saying? But it's like a lot of them had similar traits. Like they just felt like they was rejected by society. You know what I mean? They couldn't get the social acceptance that they desired. You know what I mean? And it's just like, how do you get armed with those tools to just integrate into regularity? Like how do you just be a normal person? And if you're not able to do that, like how do you adjust to that shit? That's scary though. Who that right there?
That's Brittany Sister T.
Okay, what's going on?
They on mute. She can't. I don't know if she can hear.
That's good.
Okay, okay, y'all. She can hear you guys. I mean, you guys.
I know she kind of restricted because she's a teacher. But I would love to get the opinion of T or T or. Can you hear me, T? Hello. What up, Roshi?
It's off. Now you should be able to hear him.
Hello?
Yes, we can. Okay, I'm gonna take you guys off of the Bluetooth so she can hear you. Hold on one moment.
Hey, what's up, y'all? Rochelle, can you hear me? She got the daggone camera going every which way. Joanne, get this camera together.
It's off the Bluetooth now. Why it's not talking?
Can you hear
It's
me?
something we ain't hear.
Somebody get the phone. Somebody take the phone away.
There you go.
Hey.
Good question.
Okay.
Do you have an opinion on arming teachers in schools?
Oh, yes, I do have an opinion. I believe that arming teachers at school is a very dumb idea. Okay, because teachers are crazy too.
That's right.
Teachers will end up shooting one of your children. Okay, trust me. Okay, you cannot. Half of the teachers come to school, they be drunk anyway. I want to give the teacher a gun. Okay,
Gotta get that every day.
A stupid idea. 100% dumb.
Well, you might be biased. You might have some insight that we don't know about. Let me see if somebody else got an opinion.
What? What you say?
I said you might be biased because you got some insight that we might not know about.
Yeah, exactly. But listen, to arm teachers.
Wait, wouldn't you feel secure?
Huh?
But you don't. You yourself, do you own a firearm?
No, I don't. I don't own a firearm.
Are you scared to own a firearm, or would you? Are you?
I just don't feel like I need one because everybody shouldn't have a gun.
Everybody shouldn't have a gun.
I'm one of those people, you know, because if you work on pure emotion, then you shouldn't have a gun. Because I was like, oh, you know what? Go get the gun. Instead of the belt. Instead of the belt, you'd be like, go get my gun. You know what? These kids get on my nerves.
Hey, wait. What about outside of school? What about outside of school?
What about
like you could be coming home late from the grocery store because you went to go get some late night snacks for the household.
Yeah, I never leave the house at night.
Well, it can happen in the daytime too now.
Yeah, people are crazy in the
getting
daytime
bold out
too.
here.
I mean, it's
Are you
crazy
good with
everywhere.
these? You got these right here?
Yeah, no, I don't want to use those. Those are a weapon.
Yeah.
You go for the master structure right here, Brian.
So you just gonna lay it down. Take what you need, take what you want.
Yeah, but back to the guns at school. Now you also got to think about this. Okay, so if you give a teacher a gun, you can't just think about, okay, well, you know, the teacher might just shoot a kid. No, a teacher might shoot another teacher because everybody don't like each other at school, and you piss somebody off, and then you end up shooting another teacher. So I don't know. I think it's a bad idea to give a teacher guns in school.
Would you feel safer if there were, especially at the children's school, if there was metal detectors there?
Huh?
Would you feel safer for your children if there was metal detectors at this school?
Would I feel safer if there were metal detectors? I mean, a lot of schools have metal detectors, and they still end up, you know, getting killed and shot up and stuff.
Just to touch on that, broski. You know, just to.
I mean, it's a precaution. It's something that, you know, may make you feel a little bit better. But right now, there's so many crazy people in the world, they can bypass that. And if even, like, say for instance, if we had metal detectors and also armed the teachers, how's the melody? We coming in with guns. That's just bringing. And then what happens if a teacher ends up like with one of their guns, leaving it unlocked by accident? Kids know what a gun is. Kid get a gun. Now the gun is in the school. A lot of things, you know, it has to be thought through, and I don't think that idea is thought. But metal detectors, okay. But at one point, you know how kids had to wear like the see-through backpacks and stuff like that. At one point, They stopped that.
Why?
I don't know why they stopped that, but that was stopped. And then they also had metal detectors in some schools, but that doesn't stop crazy people. Because guess what? Those people who shooting up the schools, they're not walking through that metal detector. They're coming out. They're driving 83 miles, and they're going to shoot up people. They got an idea that they want to accomplish.
Yeah, we were just talking about that. Some of them having these manifestos and these different, I guess, agendas to create a bigger narrative. And then what she was about to say?
I was about to say exactly what she just said. With that last portion of it, like most of these school shootings, like they wasn't walking no metal detectors. They came from outside the school. So like,
yeah, so metal detectors.
My Trinidad had metal detector, and they still get through.
Yeah, so it's not the metal detectors. 'Cause I mean, even the supermarket, like you're gonna have metal detectors at supermarkets now too. You know what I'm saying? Like, you're not stopping the people who come in outside of the.
Yeah, they killing people at church.
Churches,
They shooting at people at church. They
going to stop people from
people
coming in.
in the grocery store. They need to. What they need to do is find out why anybody would need why would you need that at 18 years old? They, with this, because you don't know. There's crazy people in this world. There's people in this world. They need to figure out how they can reduce their amount of.
Y'all tell me this. So if vetting was a portion of the solution, like what are we looking for? What are we looking for in the people that's qualified, quote unquote, to own actual any type of gun, whether it be assault rifle, AR-15, AK, 9mm, semi-automatic.
So how do you vet for that? Well, if you think about it, all right. So I'm thinking, yeah, crazy gonna find something. Okay, so I'm thinking that when they vet, they need to do like some mental checks, and a lot of these things are coming from these loners, like these kids that were like all alone,
isolated
students, like kids that seemed like they were gonna be crazy in the first place, because either something happened to them in school, and they hate the world. So look for those type things.
Is that an IQ test? What type of test are you referring to? Like what can determine someone's mental capacity?
Don't they have psychiatrists and things like that? Like, can't you take like a question? I mean, I'm sure anybody can lie or whatever.
Yeah, but they'll probably be able to get past that with a nice little.
Yeah, because they'll just lie. Have you ever thought about killing anybody? No.
I love everyone. I love everybody.
Oh my God.
So that's the scary part. It's like, obviously you want to find out if somebody has, a mental disorder, but is that like that more of a in-person interview with somebody who's qualified, like a psychiatrist that can actually do it? And then what's that time frame? Like, are we expecting them to go through a 3-month process in order to be approved for a firearm?
Mm-hmm.
But they don't let it go. That's true.
But I don't know.
Oh yeah, they'll take
I'm wondering if some of these people have they found out that like they have been seeing a psychiatrist probably already.
Every
like
single
parents
one.
had reported something, students reported something like going wrong with them. It's like this kid has is probably a little bit weird, doing some weird things here. Like look at their social media accounts.
That's what I was gonna say. They need to be able to, if you do, but is that an invasion of privacy at that point?
Yeah, I mean, if you're going to apply for like a gun or something like that, And
they
even
shit
on jobs, they look at some jobs look at
Social
your
media, yeah.
social media accounts. Why don't these
You
gun
got gather- they
lobbies
count
look at that, or whoever giving you these guns?
them.
Look
You know,
at
they
some of
count
those
them,
crazy
too.
things, and you see
I
them.
agree with that.
They count the time.
Then they
I
go
agree
back,
with that.
look at their look what he had
Yeah,
on
it's
his
retroactive.
Facebook page.
Right.
You should have looked at
No,
that
I agree
before
with
you
that
got my gun.
100%. Yeah, but all you gotta do is go private, and then they don't really have access to it. But I think that's 100%.
I think that the government has access to anything. We think they don't. They try to give us that false security that no one you're being blocked. No one can see what you put on, and then
That's
all
what
of a sudden.
Hey, that's me, big bro. I'm like, I'm in.
That's beginning
What they call it? I'm in the private browser. They don't know what I'm looking at.
They know exactly what you're looking at. They know everything. Okay, whatever you put on your social media, trust and believe they know that they can go there and look at that anytime they want to.
A lot of times they are looking at it. They're building a profile of you.
Yeah, they're looking at that.
Keywords on the internet, in your internet browser.
Yeah.
That profile.
And I think they need to red flag those crazy things that you're posting. Yeah, freedom of speech, but that thing be telling you something about people, not just freedom of speech. It be telling you that these people might just be crazy.
Some of them ain't crazy. They got all the sense in the world. You know what I'm saying? That's like, hey, you might act like you don't have these social cues, but like some of these manifestos, these dudes is like super intelligent, man. Like, one dude, the one who did the Buffalo shooting, and like this dude, his manifesto was 180 pages, man, and like his shit was so detailed. Like he pretty much told the story of how he got to where he was, he did all his research. He was citing sources why he believed what he believed. Like this not no isolated dude who's he doesn't have intellect. This motherfucker is super bright.
Yeah,
Like a lot of these people you
Miss
can't.
Joanne.
Oh my bad. Go ahead, bro. Okay.
Miss Joanne, press mute on the microphone.
Yeah.
Go ahead, big bro.
Yeah, a lot of these people they're not really they're not crazy. Like they super intelligent. You know what I mean? Like some of them they might not even be socially.
They might just be immature to where they don't have the.
So like a lot of people just extreme. Like they hold certain beliefs that's just dangerous to society. That you know what I mean? And like they just a threat. Like what just happened in I don't know if what was it. Idaho, it was one of Iowa where those dudes who I think they were at like a pride event, and they were hiding in the U-Haul truck, and there was about
I seen that.
All right, yeah. Like those people who belong to groups like that, like they have certain ideologies where they have certain trying to come up with a way to say it, but they have they have agendas that in different arms of achieving those agendas, and they recruit people who have the
like-minded,
who are like-minded like them, and who are willing to go, that extra mile, to achieve that end state. And these are the people who end up getting, winding up in these situations, in these mass shootings, like they martyrs, man. And
but what do you think their intention was? What they just there to cause?
They have a
disturbance.
Yeah, it wasn't just the cause of disturbance. Like they have a certain idea, like, hey, this is what the world or reality should be like, and this is how we're gonna get there. Like this is what we're gonna do to get us there, or this is what it takes, to get us to that end state. You know what I'm saying? And like them, like they have like straight up, like they on that, white power shit. You know what I'm saying? Like they have a idea where a nostalgic view of history where the white establishment, they need to reclaim that power that's being siphoned away from them. You know what I'm saying? Like they're afraid of diversity. You know what I mean? And they'll do whatever it takes to get them, to that end goal. And at this point in time, like they resorting to violence. It's like, hey, we got to start motherfucking killing motherfuckers. Though. Like we got to start, we got to ignite this war. We got to ignite this, this conflict to expedite the process. Otherwise, our control is going to be taken away from us. You know what I'm saying? Like they getting straight to it. Straight like that, you know what I mean?
Yeah, there's no filter as a reason, man. And a lot of people kind of harper on it being after this Trump administration, and like this bold in your face, just is not behind the scenes of this ideology and this attitude. But that's the part that kind of concerns me. It's like, okay, well, there was a point during the Obama administration, you'll see a shift, right? You'll see some type of change in how people were treating each other. It was more on, hey, I'm understanding you have a difference in a mindset. You may live differently from me, but I'm gonna accept you and your culture. But then after, you know what I'm saying, some of the rhetoric that was being pushed in both parties, it's like, okay, well, the left was pushing the right is racist, the right was pushing that the left is I guess against Christian ideals. So it was like there was a segregation amongst different people. And then it just became worse and worse. Everybody was just pushing each other away from each other. And that's really after this last administration. That's why for myself, like I never really got into politics for the most part. I mean, I stood for the Democratic Party, but eventually I just wanted to be where, you know, saying people treat each other as people, not treat somebody as a Republican, not treat somebody as a Democrat, but really just focus on, you know, saying being good human beings at the end of the day. And then making the decisions based on what you feel is good for being a good human being. Because at the end of the day, everybody wants to, you know what I'm saying, live happy, live free, and be in peace. Nobody wants to have to walk outside knowing they're being judged, knowing that they're being segregated against, knowing that they're being ostracized. I don't even know the word, but basically they're being ostracized. I don't want, and nobody wants to walk out the door thinking that's going to be their in their future. So I just know for myself, I just try to, you know, saying treat everybody the same. I don't put no judgments for anybody. If that's the way you want to leave, I may not agree with, you know, saying your lifestyle, but I'm not going to say, okay, I'm gonna hold you back or not give you the same opportunity I would give to someone else just because of the way you live your life. Like as long as you're not causing harm on nobody, for myself, I'm gonna treat you the same. I'm gonna make sure that you get the same opportunity. Make sure that you're happy. Make sure I provide a peaceful atmosphere and environment for you, so that we can go and be successful. And then I'm not going to try to change you. I mean, we can have open discussions on, you know, saying what your ideas are, and then you can feed the same back to me. And then at the end of the day, we'll shake hands, and you know, what I'm saying, we'll keep it pushing. Like it's not about trying to make you look bad or downsize you or humiliate you and say, okay, well, I'm right, you wrong. It's more of, hey, I'm trying to get an understanding so I can diversify my, you know what I'm saying, my thought process and just see, you know what I'm saying, why behind a lot of things. So, I mean, I think that's what really the world needs to be adjusted to, as opposed to just trying to figure out who right and who wrong and who living, I guess, in a way that's different from what you've been raised off of.
So I think that everybody has a common enemy, but that common enemy has convinced everybody to believe that everybody else is everybody else's enemy, right? So what I'm trying to say is the Republicans blame the Democrats will blame the Republicans, but these people intermarry, their kids go to school together, they start businesses together, you know what I'm saying? They're looking out for themselves. And they obviously aren't looking out for the people. When the cameras are on, obviously, you know, they play those games. But when the cameras are off, they're making their backdoor deals. They're getting rich off of laundering money, do whatever project plan law they're fucking setting up. And they're leaving the people to eat shit. And it's been happening for so long. And the people have been so asleep for so long that we're at the point where we're actually paying for it now, and we're just starting to pay for it. Like it hasn't even. People think like, oh, we're just gonna wait till it. No, ain't no waiting, motherfucker. Like this is we just starting.
In real time, yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, like this is real time shit, and we at just the beginning. Like the shit that's about to hit the fan is like crazy, and it all comes from the one enemy, and you know what I'm saying, we know who that is. That's the motherfuckers that'll send $42 billion to Ukraine and
Damn
not tell
government.
you who or what they're
Who
spending.
getting the money?
But
I was getting tracked.
they'll make you wait a year to get your $600 check or your $1,200 check, right? After they done closed up your shit and forced you to do X, Y, Z, that goes completely against everything that was obviously after time found to be unconstitutional. But if people just let it rock, like, it would have been a problem. They would have just took everything from us. So like your brother said, is he believes like they're running out of time. And as far as white people and white supremacy goes, they are running out of time because they're not creating enough white people to last. White people are now mixing with Spanish people and Black people and Asian people. And so what I feel about racism is just in time is not going to really exist anymore. But people are trying to rush it. You know what I'm saying? Like, there are certain groups that are trying to rush it to stop it from happening. You ain't gonna stop it from happening because this is a mindset. This is something that people have been raised with for a very long time. So this is something that just over time has to work its way out. You know what I'm saying? It's like a virus that you have to just heal from over time. You can't just start putting laws in place saying, well, you can't say this and you can't say that because it's racist or it's sexist, because then you're cutting away from people's free speech and you're gonna be losing a lot more than what we're dealing with right now when it comes to racism, because cutting away free speech is 10 times more dangerous than some racist old fucking people that are running out of time. So that's why they're so fucking scared when it comes to the white supremacists and those people. They are running out of time and there's nothing that they can do about it. And that's just the end of that. By 2050, there will be no more. They're like 10% of the world population anyway. Everybody else, there's no such thing as a minority. They're the minority. Everybody else in the world is brown. You go to the Philippines, you go to Eastern Asia, you know what I'm saying? You go, or Southeast Asia, they're brown. You go to India, they're brown. You go to Africa, they're brown and Black, and they're all kinds of colors. There's not one place you'll go to the world where you won't find brown or Black people. You know what I'm saying? They came from a very small continent. But moving on to Trump, I love Donald Trump. All right, I'll tell y'all that right fucking now. That is my guy, and I'll tell you why I love Donald Trump. And it's not because motherfuckers think he's racist. It's because he's the great exposer, right? Nobody was paying attention to nothing until Trump came on the scene. And whether you were with him or whether you were against him, whatever the fuck he said is starting to make a lot of fucking sense right now. Okay. This shit that's happening at the border is definitely a problem. Y'all, I don't know if you know, but over 2 million people have come through during a time where it's supposed to be a pandemic, where they're forcing vaccinations and cutting people's lives away while they're letting people through and fully funding them to establish themselves in the country with our money, while we're paying almost $5 plus for gas. Now $6 for milk, shit, $8 for eggs. You know what I'm saying? And we're funding every other project around the world, but what we deserve. What was Trump about? You know what I'm saying? Keeping it here. He cut the funding to the WHO. He cut the funding to NATO. He fucking cut the funding to the pharmaceuticals and made sure that they weren't gouging people for the prices. So he did a lot of things, but what everybody says is he was racist and he pushed out this America First type mentality. But now we've been talking about, why are we sending money everywhere and we're not protecting our own kids? Why are we sending money everywhere and not building our own infrastructure? He exposed it. Now people know, like Joe Biden and his son that fucking smokes crack, they know that they were with Russia. They know that they're bought off by China. His laptop is real. You know what I'm saying? All this shit that they lied about during the whole campaign, saying that shit was fucking Russian information, all that is confirmed. Everything on that laptop is his and it's real. You know what I'm saying?
Biden was about to punch Trump in the face when they was going through the debate, talking about his crack-ass son like that.
Hey man, that is what it is. You know what I'm saying? He literally has
Trump,
videos of him
bro,
smoking
Trump
crack.
green, but he ain't supposed to be talking. He ain't supposed to bring that up on national TV. That's a behind-the-scenes conversation, dog.
No, that's an on the TV conversation, bro. That's on the TV. Talking about selling out American secrets. You talking about selling out a country because they got you smashing little Asian hookers that are probably underage sniffing coke off their ass. You know what I'm saying? Like, they got videos.
You said that's what with Biden?
His son. They got
About his
videos of
son?
this. Yes. He
I
has
gotta see the
dealings.
video.
He's got dealings in Ukraine. He's got dealings in China. He's got dealings all over the world using his father's name.
They damn
All of
sure
them
sending
do.
billions over there.
Pelosi, what's this other motherfucker? Mitt Romney, all their sons and stuff, they're all involved in Ukraine.
I
Ukraine,
don't believe Pelosi. You ain't gonna throw no smut on Nancy Pelosi name like that.
Nancy Pelosi is the devil. how Bobby Boucher
You
once said,
you ain't about to throw no
Nancy
smut
Pelosi
on
is
Nancy
the
Pelosi
goddamn
name.
devil. He's the
Nancy
devil.
Pelosi, man, she got some hood in her, boy. I seen her at the Trump State of the Union. Her face was so stale that whole
You look
night,
like the
boy.
Crypt
She didn't want
Keeper,
to get him
bro.
no. She didn't want to get him no type of claps, no nothing.
Bro, let me tell
She
you
was
what.
so sour, boy.
She's coming for my guns. She's coming for everything, bro. I don't like Nancy Pelosi. All right. She's a
Wait,
weird.
so what's this about? So you think why you think that they coming for your gun specifically?
Listen,
Because
man.
you are a law-abiding citizen. You have military background. You served our country.
Right.
You don't have any thing that they would justify as being something that would pull you from what you currently own. You have a permit, right?
I don't, because the Constitution don't say I have to have a permit.
All right. So you gotta go.
I just bear arms. They don't say with
Bear
a
arms,
permit.
I got you.
You know what I'm saying? You don't have to license a right. Do I gotta get a fucking license to speak freely?
So are you opposed to getting a permit? Is that something that you think is
100%.
gonna hurt? Can you tell me why?
Fuck everybody else that don't want. Listen, it's my right to own a firearm. Do I have to do
All right.
It's my
No,
right.
you don't.
All right.
No, you
Listen,
don't. You're right.
the rights are given to me by God.
Gotcha.
Who can take something away from me given to me by God?
The government.
And not a soul.
Not a soul. Right? Now the government can try. Government can try, but then I can sue their ass and I can win because we have a little thing called the Constitution, and all it says is that I get to bear arms and it can't be abridged. That's it. Shall not be infringed. Doesn't say I have to have a permit. So if you read in laws that have been already tried in the Supreme Court or cases that have been tried in the Supreme Court, the government cannot license a right. It's a right. You can't license it.
Yeah,
they can't charge you.
It's a little nuance though. So like a lot of the things that you feel like you're entitled to, you know, it's like checks and balances. So they throw in, you know, these the government also has a right to protect the interest of the welfare of the citizens and stuff like that. So a lot of your rights that you feel like you're entitled to, you know, they can get abridged because, you know, there's a competing interest, which is, you know, the right of other people to also enjoy the same freedoms that you enjoy. Like so like just like we have freedom.
You can't give people freedoms by taking away other people's freedoms.
Yeah.
Like everybody enjoys this right already. And to limit it is unconstitutional.
So the Constitution, so with that too. So just like you have the freedom of speech, but we have to like limit it somehow because, you know, your right could infringe on other people's rights. So like just like you can't go into a theater and yell, you know, fire because, you know, you'll cause like a riot, not a riot, but, you know, people will start panicking. So like, you know, you have to be able to abridge certain rights just to protect other people's rights. So like
right. So like I can own a gun, but I just can't walk up to people and point it at them just for fun. You know what I'm saying? So yes, there's a check and balance, but you can't just take it away. It says shall not be.
They're restricting it, so they're saying
shall not be infringed.
Right.
That means you can't restrict it. Shall not be infringed. That's why all these cases that are coming up, they're not even making it to the Supreme Court. Most of them getting already struck down in the federal courts, even in California, because simple statement, shall not be infringed. That's it. You can't argue that.
So your defense to, well, your objection is because you think that their goal of putting in these restrictions to guns is they're threatening you by saying they're going to take away the guns that most
They're threatening
citizens have the
everybody.
right to have.
They're threatening everybody. The reason why this was put in place was not for hunting. People say, "Oh, you don't need this for hunting." You don't think the founding fathers understood that this wasn't for fucking hunting? They just got done fighting a war for fucking freedom. They totally understand that it's not for hunting. It wasn't put in place to fucking go hunting. It was put in place to protect all the other amendments and all the other Bill of Rights that or the Constitution. Without it, what does the citizenry really have as a check or balance system without guns? Not only is it a deterrent to the government, but it's a deterrent to any type of invading force that would ever think to land on a fucking on American territory. Anybody, Mexico will never try and come in. You know what I'm saying? Canada will never try and come in. Nobody wants to land because they know there's over 300 million fucking guns. It's probably more than 300 million. There's probably trillions of guns in America. There's trillions around the damn hole. You know what I'm saying? This is just the citizenry that we're talking about. We're not talking about the military or the cops. We're talking about just straight up regular motherfuckers, bro. And so when you're trying to control people, the first thing you got to do is take away their guns. That's like what? Australia, they did this COVID shit. They built COVID camps. They literally locked people away in like concentration camps. They couldn't do anything about it. They were just marching in the street getting fucked up by police. They couldn't do that here. They couldn't try that here. So they know what they got to do, number one, is start the race war. They got to start some type of civil war, right? And that's where they're trying to use the whole black, white, Trump, this, that. Like you said, everybody just needs to understand that they're our enemy, okay? And then let's go with that at first, and then let's deal with our differences later. Let's just focus on the real threat. And that's these motherfuckers that are trying to take away everything from us. All this stuff that happened through COVID, people can't afford houses anymore. You know who's buying all the houses around the country? These stock groups, what are those called? Trust fund type groups. They're buying up all these properties all around America so people can't afford them. You have to become a renter for your whole life. So now you can't be an owner anymore. You know what happens when you can't own property? You can't truly own wealth. Anybody who has true wealth has property, but they're stopping that. They don't want you to own anything. This is an agenda. It's called the Great Reset. You can look it up. They've published all of it. By 2030, they want to have a cashless society. They want to just give you a stipend every month. They don't want people out there really working like that. They expected COVID to shut everything down, and it didn't. So now they're trying to work it a different way. But by 2030, it's pretty much their plan to have everybody lined up. You're going to have the chip or some type of vaccine passport. People thought this was all conspiracy theory. Did they not just try this shit for the past 2 years? You know what I'm saying? People thought like everybody that talked about this shit was crazy. It's obvious. It's so obvious that they're doing these strong measures to try and take over people's rights. And if people don't push back, they're just going to continue to trample. That's my whole point with the whole mask issue. I knew if they went to mask and they got away with mask, they were going to go to vaccine. And once they got the vaccine, they were going to go to vaccine passports. Like it was just going to move that way. The problem was people actually fought back, and they thank God that there were federal judges and the Supreme Court ruled against that and allow people to have bodily autonomy. But these same motherfuckers that want to kill babies want to tell you that you have to get a vaccine. Like I'm telling you, their thought process makes no goddamn sense. You want women's rights, but you want men to play in women's sports. You want to take away guns from regular people, but then you want to take away guns from police. So then leave guns with the criminals. You know what I'm saying? Like your thought process makes no sense. And these are the people. Name one program that the government has that you're happy with. Name one thing that they're not just spending a shit ton of money on that just doesn't improve. Name one that's just efficient. Are you happy with the school system? Are you happy with the trains and the buses? Are you happy with fucking how the bridges and the highways look? How old is our infrastructure, right? And you want to entrust all this shit into these people and just say, yeah, okay, we'll give away our guns because we want to stop mass shootings. No, fuck that. The minute you give away your guns, it's a wrap. So what they want to do is the civil war, have the people fight. Once you got the people fighting, then you could strip them for their guns. Then an invading force can come. Then you can take away the Constitution, and then America is done. And then you have the one world government that they're going for. And that might sound crazy, but they're fucking talking about it right now at the summit. They have what is that? What is the summit that they're in right now? It's not the G20, but they're in a summit right now, and they're talking about this shit every day, bro. They're talking about how they're gonna crash the dollar. They're going to just turn it all into some type of crypto type of currency. It's all going to be global. It's all going to be regulated. It's all going to be, monetized. Everybody's going to have carbon footprints. So the more gas you use, the more money you have to spend. You know what I'm saying? Everything has to go to electric. Enterprise gave me an electric car. You know how much I get out of the charge? 250 miles. You know how long it takes me to charge it? 3 days. If I don't have one of the speed chargers. Yeah, if I don't have one of the chargers that are like commercial grade, and I just charge it at my crib, it takes 3 days.
No, I didn't know that.
Yeah, all right. You think people have the infrastructure? I can't even get to Orlando without having to stop for 2 or 3 hours to charge it if I want to use it. So just imagine everybody has this. Everybody's waiting 2 or 3 hours to charge while we're traveling. You know what I'm saying? So now they're trying to restrict people's movements. It just all makes sense. It fucking all connects. So when you're talking about pulling away the right to bear arms, it's just very scary to me, because when you look through history, typically there's some type of mass genocide of the opposing side when they lose their arms. It happened in China, happened in Russia, happened in Germany. It happened in Rome. Like, literally just go through history and see what happens when people give up their weapons. Motherfuckers get killed, and that's it. They put you in the ditches, they forget about you, and they move on, and nobody's going to question what happened, because in 3 generations you're going to be forgotten about.
That's crazy as hell.
Well, I know one thing. I definitely don't keep in touch with a lot of that stuff outside of my everyday livelihood. So you said there's a summit going on right now called. You said you wasn't able to find out what it was called?
I could find out. Hold on.
Yeah. Maybe I should spend some of my time. Let's start devoting some of my time to some of these other stuff that's going on. I'm worried about the daggone NBA finals, y'all.
Motherfucking monkey. Let's talk about monkeypox, right? Let's talk about monkeypox, bro. Why?
I'm trying to see what my Jaguars like it's gonna be next year. What y'all talking about, man?
That's what my boy was telling me. I asked him, I was like, how you liking all what's happening with the country? He's like, man, I'm just worried about the Jaguars. I was like, yeah, I'm just worried about that fucking gas, bro. About that gas price.
I'm trying to figure out. I'm trying to figure out what my credit score is right now, man. Everybody, I need to worry about where the U.S. going, huh? That need to be the play. Yeah, definitely slide me some of them details, man. You said you got that manifesto, big bro?
Yeah, I actually got 4 pulled up right now. I'm just like, and they all, quoting each other, they citing each other, man. I'm just like, what the hell going on out here, Dad?
So what you mean by they citing each other?
So this most recent one, the one that happened in Buffalo, like he was saying that his manifesto wasn't as good as another manifesto, but it's pretty good. It's not as good as what's the name, but his is good. And then another manifesto was like, this last mass shooter, he was a god, he was a hero. I'm doing this for such and such and such, and people like us. People like us. Who's us? You know what I'm saying? I'm just like, what the hell? And then
they being mortals.
What's that?
Let me see, Miss Joanne.
She signing out.
Yes.
What's it? You about to go? Oh, yeah. Who's still in there? Is Brittany in there? Who else out there? Is Brittany out there?
No,
Brittany sleep.
Yeah, she been asleep like 5 hours ago.
What y'all about to get into?
We're just talking. We're right now we're like dropping a lot of knowledge about about like famous people. We're saying like how all these famous people are on drugs, and it's like a prerequisite for being a star or whatever. You have to do like 10 lines of cocaine if you want to be like a star. Because they're a superstar, because every single one, like people that I didn't even think were on drugs, like it comes out either they died of an overdose or like prescription drugs.
You believe in you believe in the Illuminati?
Do I believe in Illuminati? I believe in Jesus Christ.
Amen.
Do I think that is something out there? Could be, but I just think that, like if you look back at like even child stars, like what's his name, Macaulay Calkins or whatever from Home Alone, he said himself that he had been doing drugs since he was little. He said because that was just a part of everything. It was like right there. Everybody was doing it. Every party had it. Yeah. Even Drew Barrymore, she said she was drugged out for a long time from when she was little, because that's what they knew. They started off, and she said like, because I guess her parents were also famous, and she said like parties that they would go to, like there'll be cocaine all over that, and everybody was doing it. So we were saying like all these stars like Johnny Depp, I was like, okay, you know, he's different or whatever, but I didn't know he was on drugs until his case. You know, Ben Affleck, messed up, alcoholic. Like these people are all this money, but they're very depressed and they're not happy, and they're all like either all cracked out or on prescription drugs. Look at Master P daughter.
Yeah, that caught me by surprise too.
Yeah. And she was beautiful.
Suicide, yeah. Master P's daughter committed suicide. She was like 20 what?
Was that recently?
29, but she it was drugs, right? Substance abuse and mental illness, but that comes with substance abuse. I mean, and her mom also, because they were on.
She was on drugs.
Yeah, and the mama is messed up. Yeah, she's still on drugs. She talked because they got the No Limit Chronicles. She got the shade, and I said she talked just like she's a big crackhead. Yeah, she a crackhead. I mean, I'm sure of it, and that's why. And they were so cute. I know, and they're like beautiful women, all this money, and Master P even said that.
Whitney Houston, she was Whitney Houston, Bobby Brown. Hey, you remember that? What album was that? Pusha T from Clips. When he when he did that album, his album cover was a picture of Whitney Houston's bathroom. It showed the paraphernalia up in there, you know, all the cocaine and
yeah. I know, and she was one of my favorite singers. She was messed up, but they were saying that she was messed up before Bobby Brown, and that's probably
she was,
because all those people. Because this is my perception. I believe that, you know, you start off and you're fresh or whatever, and let's say that you're working back to back to back, and you're tired. And they tell you, "Oh, you're tired. I got something that gives the energy that you need to get through this show, right?" And so then they start getting dependent on this energy that they can get, this free energy. So, I don't know. Okay, so I'm getting. Yeah. Anyway, so yeah. So that's what we talking about over here.
What are the mangoes? What you eating on right now?
Mango.
Got some leftover mangoes. You got to slide me by salmon.
Eating some mangoes so I can ride my chest.
Yeah, no. No, we about to do a lot of cursing and everything. But we're gonna transition over to drugs and hip hop here in a minute. So I don't want y'all to be listening to this foul, vulgar language.
Okay. Thank you for the warning.
Definitely.
Been grand.
I appreciate you giving us some of your opinions and thought process. Definitely big time, because right now we definitely want to make sure that we try to figure out a solution. That's the main thing. I know a lot of people talk about it. We don't really have all the answers, but having multiple diverse thought process maybe can help influence a solution or two.
Yeah. Y'all keep it up, man. Keep it up.
But we appreciate it. I'll catch you in the morning before I leave.
All right.
All
Bye.
right, bye-bye. Yeah, so let's talk about this. I know we was about to jump in feel free to drop that manifesto whenever y'all drop that manifesto.
Grab some water real quick. I'll be right back, bro. I'm gonna grab some water.
Yeah, you all good. You all good. But yeah, so you seen these recent indictments, George, with all the hip hop artists that's basically starting to finally gain some type of financial wealth and bring themselves out of their previous situation. Like, is it really them coming into their own? Is it a governmental attack on the hip hop or urban community, or is it these individuals are really just being dumb and putting themselves in a position to be vulnerable and get arrested for dumbness?
I mean, I think we all know who law enforcement kind of labels and pursues. You know what I'm saying? So, like, these motherfuckers, like your friend Nancy Pelosi, can do that stock market manipulation, insider trading, and walk away with hundreds of millions of dollars. But somebody wants to talk about selling some drugs and then gets a little bit of money from a show and then flips it on the street to make 3 times off of what they just made off the show and then want to show it. I think it's foolish. You know what I'm saying? I think I think law enforcement could probably be working on something else that's more productive. But at the end of the day,
Well, ain't nothing more productive than this right here, Dad.
You got to move in silence, man. Come on.
Yeah, man. At a minimum, like, you should be way smarter than this. Like, once you start seeing it's a repetitive, once you start seeing that it has happened before, and you constantly doing the same thing, there should be something in you or somebody guiding you, somebody mentoring you to tell you, hey, this ain't the best move. You don't want to be on your social media. You don't want to be putting out or publicizing videos of dumbness.
Yeah, Bobby Shmurda. I mean, you should have learned from Shmurda, right?
Yeah,
he was one of the first young up and coming rappers that his entourage or his gang affiliation came to the forefront, and they put a RICO out on him, and his basically whole momentum was shut down.
Right.
But that gang culture, man, you gotta eradicate that from our culture, man, because it's taking us, way left, man, and we exposing ourselves to to captivity again, Dad. So a lot of people, like, because of the conditions that they grow up in, like a lot of these entertainers, they're growing up in poverty, and they'll do whatever they have to do to escape that poverty. And if that glitz and glamour of the entertainment industry, or joining the gang and be able to get some money and put some food on your mama table, as long as that option is there, you know what I'm saying? Like, people who feel like they don't have any other options, they're gonna gravitate towards that. Like, a lot of the people who getting roped up now, these young little whoever name you insert name here, is like, they getting enticed by these record deals and these promises of being famous and being rich and riding in the newest whips and being able to flash money. Like, if you young and that's all is social acceptance and having money, like, you're gonna jump right on that. You know what I'm saying? Like, imagine being in middle school, you know what I'm saying, like, all the things that you wanted, and somebody's they're giving it to you on a silver platter. Like, all you gotta do is talk about this, talk about that, and I'm gonna give you the world. Like, you're gonna jump right on top of that. And that's what they're doing. And what they're doing is they creating stars or creating these idols. They making idols, man, and then they're leading other people who don't have the discernment to be able to to discern a righteous leader from somebody who's going to take you to the path you don't want to go towards. Is like, it's going to end up in the situation that these young people are ending up in now, that's getting roped up.
Yeah, that's actually it's actually pretty scary, because you would think that there was, so previously they talked about, like, how artists had A&Rs, and it was developed, and it was business with certain companies. But now I think because there's a lot of there's an emphasis on independence, and obviously when you're an independent artist, which the majority of these rappers are, they don't have they're not funding themselves, you know what I'm saying, to put themselves through any type of training. They're coming straight from low income neighborhood, and they get a bag of money because they either put a video up and it went viral, and they immediately got successful. They immediately got some money, and it was like no training. So they immediately got from where they were previously born and raised, took, because they don't know better than to not take everybody with them. Like they normally run around with 7 to 10 people. So once they get this money, they traveling with 7 to 10 people with that first initial bag that they got. That bag is going like this because they don't know what to invest in. They don't know how to sustain this livelihood. All they know is, hey, I got a bag right now. I'm gonna go get a show. I'm gonna book a show. Most of the people that I'm taking with me are gonna be still living the same lifestyle. If I'm passing enough money, they're gonna take that money to do exactly what George said and flip it, try to make some more money. So it's like, can we really fault them, or is it really? Truly, it goes back to how they were raised in that 2-parent household that'll give them a better opportunity to be successful and gauge what's right from wrong. But like you said, man, it's like everybody's influenced by what they've seen, because they clearly influenced by the generation, not the generation, but the artists that they was paying attention to. Because most of the new artists are the same. Most of them are in that drill music era. So they looking at the previous drill music artists that made it successful, and all they talking about is guns, bitches, money, killing, beef, and dropping names and smoking on the enemy or the op that got killed recently, and putting it on the damn song in the video. So it's like everybody just tackling the same type of subject matter and not trying to be original. So and they don't really see the real trend. Like the people that's lasting longer, the people who have subject matter content, like the J. Cole's, they can actually talk about certain things and diversify the type of albums that they're able to produce and that'll create longevity. They're really looking for that, you know what I'm saying, that next song that sound like the previous song and not trying to be different.
Yeah, I mean they just try to recycle the same old shit and make money off
all
it
it
as much as they can. And it's not original anymore, and that's why I just can't listen to it anymore. But
I definitely try to stay away from it.
When it comes to the 2-parent household, I think that's probably one of the biggest things that are under attack in America. It is just a 2-parent household, and like a legit one. You know what I'm saying? A mother and a father. You cannot substitute a man with a woman no matter what you do. You know, just a man commands a different presence and carries a totally different energy. You know what I'm saying? I'm not saying it's better or worse. It's the yin and the yang. It's equal. You know, both are necessary if anything is going to happen. You know what I'm saying? Because you can't scissor yourself a baby. You know what I'm saying? You know what I mean? 2 females can't make it and 2 dudes can't make it. You know, you can bump uglies all day, but it ain't going to happen. So
you call it what? Bump what?
Bump uglies. Bump uglies. And that shit is not going down. But if you look at like funding from the government, you get more incentives if the male is not in the house. You know what I'm saying? Like when I was doing real estate in New York, a lot of the women wouldn't be able to get the funding from the state if the father was present, or if they had, you know, the father was reporting his income. So what they would do is either they'll say they're single, they really would be single, but they would continue to have kids because they would get paid more for the more kids they have for the Section 8 and also SSI. So a lot of these ladies sometimes would be just taking their kids to a psychiatrist and get them drugs, or saying they have some type of mental disability so that they get an extra $600 a week or a month for the kids. And it's crazy because you would kind of ask them questions and they would just like not really give a fuck about it. It was just how they made their money. You know what I'm saying? But nothing ever incentivized a family staying together, having kids, and building off of that, because with that comes neighborhoods that are typically safer to be in because the parents are involved and they're watching and they know who their friends are and who their kids' friends are, and they know each other and they speak. that just fosters all kinds of different relationships where it almost comes a community, where it almost becomes a tribe. You know what I'm saying? That's where we need to get to and raise our societies as a tribe, where people understand by them not doing what they need to hold up their end of the bargain, because it's kind of like a web. Like if the doctor don't show up today, then obviously nobody's getting seen. You know what I'm saying? So everybody kind of plays their role in society. The minute you stop playing your role, everybody else got to pick up your slack. And we're at the point where nobody gives a fuck anymore. Like, who gives a fuck? You know what I'm saying? Nobody has that connection anymore. Everything is separated and everything's trying to be put onto the metaverse. So to be honest, I don't even know how much longer people are actually going to be going outside and doing things. But once you're able to go onto the metaverse and be whoever the fuck you really want to be, and they're selling real estate on the metaverse. You can buy clothes on the metaverse.
I thought I would never fathom this right here, man.
Dude, man, the people are meeting up on bars, and literally it could be just a fucking slob on a couch, but on the metaverse, he's the baddest bitch in the fucking planet, and he's fucking, you know what I'm saying, doing what he wants to do. He's being who he always thought he could be. But it's really just, for me, it just highlights the fact that these norms that we grew up with that we thought were the right way to do things is just under attack. And it kind of makes you ask why. Why wouldn't the government want to support a family and let them continue to have kids? Because right now we're not having enough kids to keep up with the rate that we need. Our population is shrinking, very similar to like Japan. A lot of like Western countries, populations are shrinking because people don't want to have kids for some odd reason, or they can't have kids. In third world countries, they have a fucking shit ton of kids. These are the poorest people on the fucking planet. What they do to their kids is a difference. Those kids got to go out and work. You know what I'm saying? Those little kids are out there fucking hustling candy, washing fucking windows, collecting trash. They're doing whatever. And they have a lot because they typically will lose some. You know what I'm saying? Some will die because they're out there working and doing shit. We have kids and they're not fucking making money for us. They're a liability. They're not an asset. You know what I'm saying? It's different.
Definitely a liability.
That kind of makes is that we got a bunch of confused fucking people trying to take the place of parents. And it's not right. Like all these fucking I don't know if you guys have been hearing about it, but they're trying to introduce a lot of LGBTQ. And like I said, these are people. Are they accepted in society? Of course, they should definitely be accepted in society. But it should always be up to the parent to have the discussion with the child. True. I shouldn't have to send my kid one day to school. I come home and find out that he was fucking watching a transgender fucking put on makeup and teach the class how to put on makeup. And you know what I'm saying? Like, he's in the third grade. Why are we doing this?
That's my decision.
I should be able to make that decision. I should be able to explain to him. He shouldn't come to me confused as to being like, Dad, I saw a man today, but it was kind of like a woman. Like, they told me I could be like that. You know what I'm saying? Like, whoa, you just exposed my kids to something that they're not even concerned with right now. But they're attacking the kids. And it's not, my whole thing behind it is it's a spiritual thing. At the end of the day, it all breaks down into good versus evil, right? And we're all going to be on the side. There's always going to be a balance. There's always going to be a fight, and no side will ever win. It just can't win. But you have to just realize what side you're on and what side is like going against you and what you're going to do to push back. So I realize it's a spiritual thing. Why else are they trying to vaccinate us with experimental drugs? Why else are they trying to give this to kids when they're not even affected by the COVID virus, but they're trying to give them booster shot on top of booster shot on top of booster shot, and it's not even tested, and the testing that's coming out showing it doesn't even fucking work, and really what it's doing is destroying their hearts and all these other kinds of things. All that's happening, all this documentation is being put out, nobody's getting it unless you're looking for it. So why are they coming after our kids? Why are they coming after our families? Why are they coming after our livelihoods? Why are they coming after our guns? And it's all like evident. I don't think anybody can argue against that. There's not an attack on it. Why are they coming after women's sports? Why are they just like making the world so confusing? He's a she, and then you can't say he or she. Some could be a Z or a I. Just like none of it really makes sense. But it's all an attack. And what they're starting to realize is people are starting to push back. You know what I'm saying? And people are starting to realize it. And this whole time where they're attacking these people's rights and their religions is bringing people back to their core values, because this whole time they've been losing it. But now they realize they really need it to get through these times. You know what I'm saying? People are praying, looking at their bank accounts, praying, hoping they can make it to next week now and getting their relationship back with God or Allah or whoever it is that they have as their spiritual guide, because now they're starting to feel that pressure that wasn't there before. You know what I'm saying? They let go this whole time. Now they're fucking got trannies dancing for their kids at school. Now they got to get back involved in the school system. Now they got to go and talk to the school board. Now they got to realize who they're voting into the school board and pay attention to these elections that they're putting these people in the place that are causing these things to happen, right? So everybody is like starting to wake up to it. And either you're waking up and you're on the other side where you're for it, or you're on the side where you're against it. And obviously, if you're on the side that's against it, then you think the other side is not for it. But for me, it's a spiritual thing. And that's what it truly breaks down to. I've had my spiritual experience, and that's kind of where it all stems from for me. But for me, it's a blatant attack, and I don't think anybody can argue with me at that. Like, show me that they're not coming at you in all kinds of ways.
I just want to tap on what you just said about the spiritual aspect of it. That's super important. I feel like that's the crux of what we're talking about right now. And I feel like if we were to close out, like, that would be the main point is we are in those times where people have to be more aware of the good versus evil aspect, because that's what ultimately it all boils down to. And we kind of at that stage in society where we got to start picking sides. Like, hey, are you on the good side or you on the evil side? You know what I'm saying? And what's really scary to me is it's a lot of lines being blurred. You know what I'm saying? And that's what we got to get better at doing is putting certain things in certain categories. Like, okay, hey, this gonna lead me this way, this gonna lead me that way, and use that to help us start making better decisions. Because I don't want to make this a race thing. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's not particular to any particular race. You know what I'm saying? Or I don't want to make this a political agenda, because it's not inherent in any political party. You know what I'm saying? We just got to get better at discerning. You know what I'm saying? Hey, good versus evil. You know what I'm saying? And then figuring out what's blurring these lines, and just start making better decisions as far as what's going to give us what's going to give us the most protection from the other side, or what's going to better arm us, you know what I'm saying, to be prepared to fight that fight against the other side. Because I think we starting to approach those times where hey, you either with us or you against me.
Yeah, you gotta be on your P's and Q's.
Yeah, P's and Q's, man. Yeah, but I condone that message, you know what I'm saying? I fucks with that.
Nah, big time. We appreciate you guys tuning in. If you have any suggestions on content, any topics that you want to get discussed, feel free to tune in. Feel free to hit us up in the direct messaging. We'd be more than happy to have some like-minded or unlike-minded individuals on to get their perspectives on things, and we'll go from there. But again, thank you. We up and out this month, man. Thank you, Big Dog George. I appreciate you tuning in.
Yeah,
and
man.
If people don't know, man, it's 2:51 a.m. real time right now. My dog stayed up with us, living our best life.
Hey, some messages need to just get out there.
That's true. No matter what time it is. This boy about to be dead tomorrow. I gotta drive back to Jacksonville. And I know the wife ain't gonna have nobody. Like, nah, you want to stay up and podcast? Nah, you gonna go and job, babe.
Consequences, baby. All right, y'all. Have a good night, man.
Yes, indeed, man. Please, appreciate you. Big bro, I love you, big dog.
You too, bro. Appreciate you.
All right, peace.
Peace.